So what is up, everybody? You hear my hands rubbing together? I am here. I have Birdman hands. I am here with the one and only, the legend. You know him, you love him. Sinister. I gotta say it like that. Sinister.
Oh man.
What is up, bruh?
Nothing much, man. Just chilling. Grinding. Every fucking day is a grind, man.
Oh, I know, man. I see your work. I peep your Instagram sometimes.
Yeah,
I see
literally every fucking day is a grind, bro.
Yeah, the grind don't stop, but it's love in the process. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, obviously, I already said your name. So, tell the folks, what do you do, and if you're okay with disclosing not all the information, obviously, but where you from, kind of a background, something like that.
Yeah. So I go by Sinister. I'm an Atlanta-based trap artist. I was originally born in California, and I lived there for the first 18 years of my life. And after that, I joined the military, like right out of high school. I enlisted when I was like 17 and shit, like when I was still in high school. And then and I left when I was 18. And I did that whole thing for like 4.5 years and shit. Got to go overseas for 9 months. That was kind of cool. And then then I got out in 2015, and pretty much I got out basically to do music. And I was, from like I looked at we'll get into this maybe later, but the woman who is about to become my ex-wife, looked at her dead in the face in 2015 and was like, "Hey, we're getting out. I'm getting out of the army. And we're gonna move."
Oof.
And she was like, "I just got out with no plan, bro. So, I put us at risk, and I did. It's kind of fucked up, but like it was one of those things I kind of had to be selfish about and like put us in a shitty position so that later on we could potentially prosper. And like I am now, but on a side note, we're kind of just gone different ways and shit. So it's like a mutual decision in that aspect. But yeah, so yeah, like I was at the bottom for a while before I even became an underground artist.
Yeah,
So like I started from square one.
I see, man. You got a real story there. Like I'll definitely get into that more a little, like you said later on to the interview. But some other things I want to establish. Just this is basic questions I ask everyone.
Yeah.
So like, obviously, one of the things people want to know, like, who was your inspirations? What made you want to start doing this? Obviously you put so much into it, like you were just explaining. So like, what is that drive? You can name artists or just life experiences or what. Well, what made you want to start doing underground music?
It's a lot or music in general, really, man. A lot of shit. Like, I like ever since I was a kid, it was really weird. When I was, I try to pinpoint it. I think it was somewhere around like 13 or something like that. I was listening to like pretty much every 90s, early 2000s kid. I was born in 91, but like my music adventure journeyed through like the early 2000s and shit with bands like Linkin Park and shit. Linkin Park turned into Slipknot, or it turned into like Slipknot, Mudvayne, Mushroomhead, Static X, all that shit. And then that turned into like, okay, Cannibal Corpse. It's almost kind of like a drug. You start with, a little bit of weed, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, I need some harder shit. It's kind of like that with music, with metal more specifically, and like I was like, I wanted heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier, until
real quick to add to that.
Yeah,
that's exactly how I got into this scene. That's ironic.
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of people get into this scene.
Yeah. But sorry to interrupt. I just had to put that in there.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, so that was like, and like I still listen to all that shit. Like everything I grew up listening to, I still listen to this day. Like, didn't matter if it was like, the pop, boy band shit that I was bumping when I was like, 10 years old, all the way up to, the shit I listen to now, and the shit I listen to all through high school and shit. I still listen to all that stuff, just because there's an influential takeaway from all of that stuff. And my side hustle, I'm an audio engineer, so I don't really limit myself to like what I listen to. I'm in tune with pop, I'm in tune with everything, because I kind of have to be, as an engineer on the side, because I can get approached by anybody and stuff like that. So, and I've engineered for various types of artists, I'm in Atlanta, so I do a lot of hip hop. I get a lot of hip hop clients and stuff, but like, I'm into whatever. It doesn't matter, music wise.
I will
But
say. Sorry. One more thing. I will say though, I see most people say like and they're probably honest about this. It's probably true. They have a lot of Slipknot influence. Your music, especially in like music videos, I mostly see that. I don't really see it too much in like other people's. Yours, I can like really see the Slipknot influence. Like like I don't know. It's like the aesthetic of. I don't really know what it is, but it just gives off. It reminds me what Slipknot. Listening
I think
and watching that was.
It's weird because like I'm definitely not trying to go for that, because I don't listen to Slipknot as often as you would think. But Slipknot had a really big impact on my life, like when I was like 13, 14 years old, like the first song I ever heard by them was Duality, when Duality dropped. But then like my cousin used to always like play 99 Slipknot, like self-titled Slipknot, around me all the time, and he was the one who started all this shit. Like I fucking remind him of that every time I see him, because I'm like, God damn you, like he used to always like play that shit around me, like whether it was like Linkin Park or Slipknot or whatever, Mudvayne. And so it kind of just grew on me eventually, and one day I just like got curious and went out and bought a bunch of CDs and shit, and just it never fucking stopped. But yeah, like when I was a kid, man, like I had this like obsession with Slipknot, like literal obsession. I had Slipknot calendars, Slipknot posters, Slipknot. I had a Slipknot shirt for every single day of the week for like 2 weeks. Like, bro, like if it was anything Slipknot, bro, I even had like DIY, like Chinese made, like eBay shirts that were Slipknot, that were like chibi Slipknot characters and shit. Like, bro, I was fucking all about Slipknot, bro. Like when I was a kid, right? Now, it's funny because nowadays I don't really listen to Slipknot that much, except for we're in the middle of like a Slipknot cover right now, so I have been listening to Slipknot a lot more. But it's cool to see like where a band like that has really like evolved. And Corey Taylor, honestly, has always like as a frontman and a musician, has always kind of like stuck with me as like a personal influence, because like I know he's just like hearing him talk about the shit he went through as a kid. That's like what a lot of kids go through, shit like that. So broken homes and like not really growing up with your parents and shit like that, so, or just having a lot of unfortunate shit happen to you when you're younger, but I feel like people, there's a takeaway there when you Corey though, because I feel like what a lot of people miss is like, look at him, he's a fucking Grammy award winning artist, you know what I mean? Like he turned all that negative shit around, and that's an important takeaway. It didn't just end because his life, was shitty. He didn't just throw it away. He made something out of it, and that's, I admire that, because I try to, emulate the same thing. And
Very inspiring.
the message that I send out to people, because, there's like, depression is literally becoming an epidemic, in
I've noticed.
and like worldwide culture, and I don't know if it's necessarily the music or if it's just things are just doom and gloom nowadays for a lot of people, but
I think the music just reflects it. I think it's just a mirror.
the music reflects it for sure, but I think people have to be careful about how they
Channel it.
how they receive shit, too, as the consumer. As a consumer, I think you have to be very careful, when you look at Suicide Boys, you love their aesthetic, but you got to realize those dudes are fucked up in the head, man. You got to ask yourself, are you that fucked up?
Yeah.
Some people just want to do it because they want to look like Suicide Boys, you know. But at a point, you might be hurting yourself.
That's true. So. That's true. Look at their name, Suicide.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, yeah, and they're, you know, I mean, they've gone on record to talk about, you know, their come up. They were going to kill themselves. They didn't make it. So, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, that's some deep shit, you know.
Very, very. But yeah, into that though as well. I'm pretty sure you probably explained this before. I just haven't heard it, so I'm interested in this one too. How did you get the name Sinister?
Oh man, it's totally like it's actually kind of stupid. So in it was 2014. I was getting close. I was like my last year in the military, my last full year, and I remember I started like trying to rap a little bit, like on like, you know, shitty beats or whatever. And I was like going to work, and I was telling all my friends. I remember sitting there, you know, my boys in my platoon. We were sitting at like, you know, a little company area that we had, and they were like, you know, you really think you're gonna make it as a rapper? And I'm like, man, you never know, man. One day, man. I was like, I want to make it in music regardless, you know. And they were like, dude, if you were a rapper, what would you name yourself? Like, you know, because like I'm not like, you know, to be honest, I'm not like, you know, from the streets or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like, you know, they were like, what would your rap name be? I'm like, Sinister with a Z in the middle. And they started fucking laughing at me. They were like, dude, what the fuck? They're like, dude, hell no. They're like, they used to like clown me and shit all the fucking time. And you know what's funny? All those people now, they're like, God damn, dude, you really fucking did it. I'm like, yeah, man. I told you I fucking wanted it. They all remember, dude. Like, I looked all my leadership dead in the face, dude, and they're like, why do you want to get out? I'm like, because I'm gonna go pursue music career. And they're like, you're fucking stupid. They're like, why would you do that? Why would you give up job security, money for a shot at, you know, maybe making it in music? And they're like, you're never gonna make it. And I'm like, I mean, if I try. I'm like, you guys inspire all this not quitting shit, right? So I think I've, you know, been through enough shit to where I can handle whatever's, you know, thrown at me. You know what I mean?
You're proving them wrong. You're definitely proving them wrong.
Oh yeah, dude. Like they're like, I mean, they're shaking their heads right now, like punching the air. They're like, damn, he actually fucking did it. People message me from like, you know, like even like kids I grew up with and like guys I grew up with in high school, like guys, girls, whatever. They're like, holy shit, like, you know, changed in the last 10 years. I'm like, yeah, I mean, you know, the girls unfortunately are all, you know, pregnant and shit, and not married.
I know exactly.
And the guys are like still working at Target and shit, you know, at almost 30 years old. You know,
I gotta ask this too. This is not a written down question, but I have to ask
yeah.
Too. Were you always buff?
Okay, no. I used to be like a really scrawny kid in school, and actually the first like year I was in the military, I was like really, I don't want to say really skinny, but I was like skinnier because it's kind of weird. I joined this like, so in the Army, like at least in the infantry and in this battalion, the way that it worked was like, if you were an infantry soldier, you like went to, they call them infantry line companies, and those are just like regular infantry line companies. So like, it's just like you're just doing regular infantry shit. But there was a scout platoon that kind of do more like on the reconnaissance sniper shit. So they had tryouts to go to the recon platoon or to go to scouts. So, and it was just like a few days, you know, you just had to suck for a little while, you know. It was pretty shitty few days, but you know, I was like, whatever, you get through it. So you go try out and then you get in. So me and a few guys, like, I was like, man, I'm tired of being in the line, because they treat you like shit in the line, you know, and like, you know, like, I mean, and it's the experience is different, you know, depending on where you go. But in this unit in particular at this time, it was kind of shitty. So I was like, man, I want to go to scouts because like it's better training, like they're gonna treat me better or whatever. So long story short, I joined scouts, and it actually was the opposite, and I fucking hated my life in scouts. I did a lot of cool shit. I learned a lot of cool shit, but it came at a price. And I got like, this sounds really fucked up, but it's just, I'm when I say this, I don't have any ill will towards anybody like in that platoon specifically during that time. I was in scouts for a year, but I don't like, I'm not hating on the Army or anything like that, but this is just what happened, right? That's all I'm saying. But I got bullied into working out because I was like, they were all about like being like strong and buff and shit. And like at the time, I was kind of like the, I guess for lack of better words, like the runt, you know what I mean? Like I was like the little guy, you know? And like here are all these like fucking jacked bodybuilder dudes and shit, you know, and they always used to shit on me all the time because they're like, man, like you need to fucking hit the gym. And like it got to the point where it was like, they're like, bro, I'm gonna fuck you up if you don't go to the fucking gym. And I'm like, damn. You know, and like they were dead ass serious. Like my team leader was fucking serious, and he was like, you know, a fucking Sereno in a past life too, you know. So like he was just this big fucking buff ass Mexican dude. So I was like, okay, yeah, like I'm gonna fucking listen. Like so, like every day I went to the fucking gym, and like, you know, they were like, you don't have to work out with us, but they're like, better fucking see you. So like literally that's how it started. And like I started working out because I was forced into it.
Right. Oh.
So like I started lifting because like in the Army, like we do like, you know, regular physical training and shit, but it's mostly like running.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
We don't really do a lot of like lifting. So the lifting shit, that's kind of like what you do on your own time. So they're like, yeah, you need to fucking buff up. But yeah, so yeah, that's a whole nother like story. That whole year, dude. Oh, that whole year. Oh man, that year sucked.
Sounds rough.
Yeah.
But I mean, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And here you are. You made it. So that's what matters for sure. Legendary.
Yep.
Legendary. But another thing I have to also ask about the music. What in particular, like, how did you get into this screamo trap, you know, rage scene? Like, how did you? What led you to this instead of just like, you know, which I know you do other things as well, other types of music, but like,
yeah,
you know, what led you to like this scene in particular?
So I didn't even know like SoundCloud rap, or like I knew trap existed, but I didn't know like SoundCloud rap was like becoming the new like the wave of trap, quote unquote, you know. So pretty much like so okay, I have to like take you back to the very beginning. So in 2017, in like June of 2017, I think it was like June 5th, my first EP dropped, and I started out as a horrorcore artist. I was like, you know, like a hip hop horror MC, you know, that was like my. Now I always had the metal logo, like the logo that I have now. I had that even when I was.
Okay.
I mean, like arguably, I guess like still am, whatever you want to call it, but like that was how I started, was being like a regular hip hop, you know, MC, I guess you could say. And then like I dropped 2 EPs and did a bunch of songs back then in 2017, and like none of it like went anywhere. Like I had no fan base, I had nothing, and like I even bought hard copies and shit and just wasted a whole bunch of money and shit. I played a show and just was like, the one show that I played in 2017, dope. It was like my very first festival out here in Atlanta. But so after that, like shit still wasn't really taking off. And earlier in 2018, I opened up for an artist named Isham. Have you ever heard of him?
He's a horrorcore, right?
Yeah, horrorcore Detroit legend type shit. So I opened up for him, bro, and like I had like 10 people. Hardly, dude. Like no, like, bro. No offense, but that shit was not fucking like even for Isham, bro. There was like 3 people watching. The shit was bad.
Damn.
Yeah, it was bad. So fast forward a little bit, like April of the following month, I was playing my final horror show, and under like the old Sinister in April. But simultaneously, I was gearing up to drop my first like trap hit and rebranding myself completely as like a trap artist. And that first song was As Above, So Below. And so I did that show. Again, that show was pretty much a flop. And I was super, super like, man, I was so like, cause I'm so passionate about like what I do, you know? And bro, I'm not going to lie to you. At the end of that show, bro, I was so broken down and like unmotivated, even though I had that song coming out and like, I knew that, but bro, I fucking broke down in the parking lot at the end of that show and fucking cried, bro. Dead ass, because I was like, damn, this shit is just not fucking working out for me, bro, no matter what the fuck I do. My shows aren't lit, my music's not lit. I'm like, what the fuck, man? So I was super, super down in the dumps. Now, we went and recorded a music video for As Above, and we dropped that shit May 5th. I think it was either May 4th or May 5th. That marked the rebranding of Sinister as a trap artist. Now, I found out about the scene through like, I think, like one of the first songs I ever heard. Oh man, I hate to even say this at a point, but it was actually, I found, I was already listening to that, but I didn't know they were like part of this. And so, I think, who was it? DJ Lil Sprite. Shout out DJ Lil Sprite, by the way. That's like one of the guys who produces from Regular. But yeah, he told me about like, he's like, man, you got to do this trap shit. I was doing like a little video series he had on YouTube called Underground Choppers. It's like where they rap really fast and shit. So I was on 2 of those, and he was like, man, you know, this poor boom bap shit, this shit ain't going nowhere, man. And so he started showing me artists like Ghostmane. You know, I found out about Puya from Ghostmane and found out about all this other like crazy shit. You know, basically through that was kind of like the gateway. The first song I ever heard was 1,000 Rounds. And I was like, bro, I gotta find more shit like this. I was like, this shit is lit, you know? And so I started listening to basically like that. At the same time, I started seeing the guys from everybody knows City Morgue. I started seeing Zilla and Sos come up. Like I think Shinner's 13 had just dropped on World Star. And Sprite was like, yo, check this shit out. He's like, have you ever heard of Zilla Kami? I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like watching this video, like, damn, dude. Fuck. And like from there, dude, I was like, damn, man. I was like, I want to do shit like that, you know? But even now, I still kind of like traverse, you know, I draw influences from everyone, man, because I listen to everything. So I don't just, like, I love City Morgue, but like, I'm not just a City Morgue fan. You know what I mean? Like, right. Some of my stuff, I've got stuff unreleased that I haven't put out. But yes, it is like City Morgue influence. It's by, you know, Young Fro and Mars Mission and shit, you know, guys who make the Thrax type beats, yeah. And then, okay, so I also have like 5 unreleased songs with Thrax as well. Yeah, so there's that. And then Thrax is on the mixtape, Diatribe, the first one. So that was kind of like my introduction. This was like Ghostmane, you know, and then kind of just like, again, leveled up from there. And then the more I discovered, like, okay, I found out about City Morgue, now I'm finding out about King, now I'm finding out about, you know, all these, like, it went like, it started from like the top and then it went like progressively down, you know, finding out about all these little smaller artists, like Cameronauts, King. And then I'm seeing Project, and then I'm seeing Scar Lord. You know, Scar would be like one of the.
Yeah, I kind of did the same thing. I started with like X, then Scar, and it just like dropped down. Same thing with me. I have to ask you something.
Yeah.
So okay, so you were a horrorcore artist. I have this thing with horrorcore, so many horrorcore fans come into my video, like my
Oh
video
my
comment
god,
section, and just like, bro, you never mentioned horrorcore as being. I'm like,
dude.
horrorcore is
Oh
a
my
totally.
god.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, okay.
Oh
I
god.
don't.
I don't even. I can't even really comment, like, or say what I want to say because they would probably, like, if any horrorcore fans are watching this.
No, I love the fan. Like I shot him out. Like I use it as like more of like friendly banter. Like different sports teams. Like say you and I.
Yeah.
Like different. I use it more like that. I don't completely hate horrorcore. I'm just it's not my cup of
No.
tea. So I just make fun of it, sort of.
Here's the thing. In the scene I came up in, like the first scene that I ever started like rapping in and shit, like, oh my god, dude. Man. I'll put it to you this way. My first album, Malice, right? You can go listen to it because I re-uploaded it. I pretty much, like, with the exception of like a few people on that album, like it's basically a massive collaborative album. It was my biggest regret in 2017 because I spent way too much money on basically the entire thing, and like all the collabs on there. I started fan, of like a lot of those artists, and like a lot of those artists, like I just kind of wanted to, I guess, start rapping because I wanted to be one of them at first, like I wanted to be my own entity, not realizing that like collabs aren't gonna create me as my own entity. Only I can create myself as my own entity.
Right.
So Diatribe was basically like, the word diatribe actually means like a verbal attack against someone or something. So I named it that because when I was writing it, it was basically me just like being super fucking mad at myself. And a lot of the songs on there are actually like, as I was transitioning out of like that scene, and I'm still kind of, indirectly a part of it because a lot of my earlier fans or supporters for that matter knew me from that scene. They like a lot of the other artists, that little circle or whatever. They started like disowning me. Some of them started dissing me and shit. So some of it was like me responding to it and like not naming any names, but just tactfully giving responses to a lot of shit in case they ever went and listened to it. Because haters are your biggest fans sometimes. So
they're so aggressive to this scene. I don't get it. They hate.
So like because they're old heads, bro. They don't understand like the new wave. They don't understand the new wave, So they want to hate on it, and they call everything mumble rap. Anything that's not like
that they like.
Yo, man.
Yeah,
walking down the block with the clock in my pocket.
Exactly.
Walking down the clock, walking down the, like if it's not like if it doesn't sound like, some like super old school like yeah, put your hands up, like, bro, ain't nobody trying to hear that.
Exactly.
Man, people are trying to turn up nowadays, man. Whether you're talking ignorant shit or whether and here's the thing, one of my it's a really close friend of mine, him and I used to rap a lot back in, his name's Nomadic. He discovered me actually because I was doing electronic at the time, and this was back.
Sorry,
like,
you doing what? Your audio cut out.
Oh, I was doing electronic music at the time.
Yeah.
And so I was doing a project called Nexium, and it was like not rap at all, but I was like, I liked that style, so it's kind of like goth industrial basically. So I was doing that, and he found me in like 16 off of an album I did that under Nexium, and I started rapping with him. Like we used to just exchange verses back and forth and shit, and like, he has so many verses for me that it's just like probably never gonna surface because it was just us bullshitting, I mean, it was like serious at the time, but like, shit's old now, it's not nowhere near where I'm at now, 2 years later. But, it's funny because I remember telling him, he was like one of the first people who like openly disagreed with me switching styles. But he was like, look, man, he's like, you know, you do you. He's like, I'm still going to support you or whatever. And I'm like, all right, cool. You're like the last fucking good friend I have in this scene. So I did it and I switched styles and shit. And like him and I, bro, we were not doing numbers at all. Like we were both like in the same position. He was like, he had a little bit more than I did because he had like a couple albums out before I even dropped my first big tape. But it's funny because, you know, I hate to say it like this, kind of sounds a little bit extra, but this is what happened. You know, one song that I dropped, like, outdid all of, like, everything, you know, and it, like, put me on the map, you know, and then I'm like, okay, he's like, okay, you know, it's kind of like, can you do it again? Dropped another one, same thing. He's like, I bet you can't do it a third time. Dropped a third one, same thing. It was like, and I was dropping like singles consistently through 2018, and it was just like one after another. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna do this, this like trap metal tape, experimental shit. I didn't even know trap metal was a thing at the time, and I dropped this EP called The Black Mire, and I dropped it right before I went on tour. It was like just a Southeast regional tour with Omen 13 and Jay Green and Cold Blooded, and it was like the first 3 songs I put out, which was As Above, So Below, Diatribe, and Morbid, plus that little 5-track, right? That was what I toured with. Right. So like everybody in the Southeast, that was the original Sinister shit they heard, and I was still like discovering myself, you know, which is kind of funny because like I look at The Black Mire now and I'm like, oh God, what the fuck? But there's people who actually like all the trap metal cats, like, you know, they like that shit. And I'm like, what? No. They're like, dude, do another EP like that. I'm like, hell no. I enjoy rapping like too much, you know. So like I do like to blend the genres, but I like to be on the hip hop side because at the core of it, that's still what it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Morgoth, I'm pretty sure told you in your documentary. I think he said something like trap metal is like the opposite of nu metal, in the sense that it's like we're hip hop driven with metal influence, whereas like nu metal is metal with hip hop.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
That's basically what it is. It's man, but I just have to put out one thing. Like I'm just stuck on one thing that you did say, because I keep trying to tell this to horrorcore artists. Like I was saying, like this is the most aggressive form of rap, honestly, I've ever heard. And they were like, you know, they try to say like, oh, the horrorcore. I'm like what you said, it's literally boom bap rap talking about aggressive stuff. Like this shit, people are screaming in distortion. Like, you know what I mean? It's way more intense, way more heavy and hardcore than that. So that's why I can't personally. That's just something I've been trying to tell them. They don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, I used to have that. Like, then I just got to like, I'm like, I can't. There's no convincing you that the style is like, you know. And the funny thing is, you know, in all honesty, man, I used to never make any money off my shit. I used to never get any views. I used to never get shit, dude. I had no fan base when I was doing that. I switched to trap. I changed my market up. I had people to market to besides my little, you know, 5 people who followed me on Facebook, you know, and all of a sudden, man, it just there, and I started making money off my music. I started like, you know, getting tons of plays. I started dropping more videos and songs. Everything just kind of started. Everything's just been going up steadily, you know, ever since 2018. So.
Definitely, man. This music is definitely it's still not, you know, the most popular thing, but it's definitely catching.
Honestly, man, I think like even with artists like that's why I'm really happy for this, like artists like Scarlord, and like even City Morgue, especially because they're normalizing what we're doing down here in the underground, you know, so that when you hear City Morgue, like anybody who loves City Morgue because they're like, oh man, I saw them at Rolling Loud, or you know, the fact that they're playing Rolling Loud, that's fucking awesome. People are like, oh man, they're selling out to go on mainstream. Oh, no. Awesome for underground artists, because that way, when I show my music to somebody, people are like, oh shit, hell yeah, bro. Like, this is lit. You know what I mean? They still want to fuck with it.
Yeah, like
Not like oh, this is so foreign. I've never heard
I mean, yeah,
shit to a microphone.
that is a pro, but at the same time, something that you can probably agree with this. Like every artist, especially in the scene, will say like, whenever like you start getting some buzz, they relate you to an already popular artist. So like,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
like Jumex came out, automatically they say, oh, he's another Star Lord. Like it's not
No.
everybody that screams.
Don't even get me started on G-Mix.
You know what I mean? So that's like what you're saying is like it's true, but also there's that side too, where it's like they.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Like, well, yeah, like they just like like I said, anything where you just aggressively rap or have a rasp in your voice, they say, "Oh, you're another Zilla." You scream, you're another Scar. You do some whatever shit, you're another Ghost Main, another Suicide. It's like
you know what's funny?
Yeah.
I look at the comments. I read every single comment. Watching it, everybody's gonna start commenting on my shit now. Start commenting all this random shit. I read every single comment that comes across my platform, every single one, and I've never gotten like not as much. Like there's like ones here and there. Oh man, Scar Lord at the end, but I never get told that I sound like a Zillakami. I never get told I sound like a Scar Lord, and this is when I kind of started realizing like. As an artist, as a solo artist, what makes me different from Zilla, from Scarlord, from X, is the sound of your voice. That makes all the difference in the world, you know, because there's a lot of people who try to impersonate like what Zilla does and like what Sos do, and it's like, dude, you can't impersonate that because you're not them. Just be you. Just be how you sound. Just sound how you sound, and that's it. You know, there's a lot of there's a bunch of Scar Lord, and like people try to copy aesthetics. Don't even do that. You know, I've been dressing the same way for fucking years, bro. So much to the point where like people look at me and they're like, you know, like people who like grew up with me in like middle school and high school. They're like, you've never changed your style. I'm like, no. Well, I mean. It's never been an issue. Why would I change it? Like, I've just, dude, a band shirt and jeans. That's all I've ever worn. Or shorts, you know, weather dependent, you know. Like, I wear band shirts to the gym, dude. You know? I don't wear jeans to the gym. I'll put on some, like, workout shorts or whatever. But it's the same thing, bro. Like, cut off band tee and, you know, and workout clothes. That's it. That's what, like, that's me. That's who I am, you know? Like, I think a lot of starter up artists will like thing where they're basically they want a category. They love an artist so they love Scar Lord so much that they want to be Scar Lord. No, don't try to be like him. You know, it's bad enough your music kind of sounds, you know, but just come up with your own. Thing, like the mask, that was something that I draw a lot of influence from like different genres, which is good because then people don't know where the fuck the shit comes from. To them, it's original. And to a point, it's original, because not a lot of people are doing it, but no one can copy my mask.
Yeah.
That's 100% unique to me. I recently started doing this stage thing where I paint like I black out my arms and my neck, because it just adds a cool aesthetic. Because I realize like I look kind of boring when I perform. Like I'm energetic and shit, but like my overall look not like aggressive, Yeah. Besides the fact that I'm like kind of big, right? But like, I'm just wearing a t-shirt and pants. There's nothing, So I'm like, what if I just started painting my arms? Blacked out my neck. Like, what if that would look, kind of like a smoky look, And I'm like, and I just tried it, and dude, it was,
That's interesting.
So, like, and that idea came from somewhere else,
right?
But it's all like you would never know unless you listen to that style of music.
Is that? I'm just taking a guess. Is it black metal? Do they do
No, industrial actually.
industrial? Okay.
Yeah, goth industrial. So like, this girl I used to work with, you know, rest in peace to her. She was pretty influential to me, just in general, just musically. Like she was a rapper, yeah, but I worked with her at Nexium, and she passed away in 2017. But she used to do that with one of her bands, and so I saw her all decked out in that shit. When, oh shit, that's what I should do. I should do that. Like that would look cool on me. So that's kind of where the idea came.
Okay. Well, I have noticed that like a lot of I do think if people want an aesthetic thing that you know like what you have and what Scar has and whatnot, I do think personally because what I see just from what I see looking at music is like that happens a lot in punk. It happens a lot like you said in industrial. Black metal has their sort of thing too. You know, different aesthetics. Metal I noticed has the most like they try to go for the most shock value. You know what I mean? Metal and rock. They both try to go for the most shock value because the music is shocking. It's loud. You know?
Yeah.
So I feel like this scene should if this scene's gonna copy anything from them, I do think if you're gonna perform it should.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I feel like this scene right now.
You might
Sorry. I feel like there's so much room for growth right now in the scene. Like,
hell yeah.
There's so much room to just kind of. Well, let me backtrack and just say this: it is so hard to be original, quote unquote, like what people would consider to be original, because almost everything has been done before. So what you need to do, take things that are unfamiliar to a genre and bring those in. Like I said, how I kind of bring things in the industrial side, because I was in the industrial for a little bit. You know, I was also in the metal scene for a little bit. Now I'm in the trap scene. So there's like all these different influences that I kind of just mesh together, you know, and it appears to people as original because they don't know where that shit's from, you know? So.
That's very interesting. Gotta, you know, that's something that I've kind of, I don't know, it's just something that I noticed, like, yeah, like, you should, what am I trying to say, like, recycle stuff instead of...
Yeah, definitely, things need to be recycled.
Yeah, because things go out of style, you know, like...
Yeah.
One day 50s attire might come back in a weird way, you know, like...
Maybe.
You know, something like that, just give an example, stuff like that. Yeah. So you already answered one of the questions I was going to ask earlier. You touched on your style, so
yeah, that's kind of like it kind of comes from everywhere. A lot of different things, you know. Like I started out as a metal vocalist back in like early.
No, I meant your clothing.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. That even the styles and the aesthetics, it all stems from different things, like different phases of my life,
right? You
know, and like this is kind of like the final form, I guess, you know, you could say.
Okay.
So
how I do want to ask, and this might go into like what you know we were talking about a little earlier. So like, how much emotion would you say goes into your music, if any?
A lot. Too much.
Can you like explain, like, you know, like in a way without being uncomfortable? Like, is there a way you can explain?
Yeah. No, I mean it's not uncomfortable. So like beneath the surface, I'm like a really emotional. So, but I hide it. You know, it's kind of masked. You know, unless you like knew me personally, you know, you wouldn't really be able to tell. But yeah, like okay, there's a series that called Dreadful Days. It's old. It's like 2017, but it's on the Malice album. You can listen to it. During Dreadful Days Part 2, when I was recording it, I was actually crying, and I was like, man, I wonder if in the final mix you're going to be able to tell. And then like when I got the master back, I'm like, nope. I'm like, sounds normal. But yeah, I was actually crying when I was recording that song because of like, you know, what it meant, you know, and the like reason why I was recording it. But yeah, I mean, there's like, I'm kind of naturally a more angry person. Like I have like a lot of like there's a lot of people I guess who like suffer from like chronic depression and stuff like that, and like you know that kind of shit. And like my vice, I guess you could say, that I've always struggled with my whole life has been anger. Like I'm very, very like I've calmed down a lot nowadays, but like just all throughout my life, I don't know why. You can ask my parents this. Anybody who I ever grew up with will tell you I've always just been an angry person. Like I don't know why. Like it's and like just like the smallest thing would just set me off. Like growing up, and like even like into my adult years, like the military didn't make that any better. But yeah, I mean, like nowadays, like I said, I've kind of really tried to calm down because there's a lot of things that I did that like kind of more or less regret, that because it started causing a lot of like actual problems for me. So I basically just dialed all that stuff back. And like I need to like I either need to get help or find like. So that's kind of why like this music that I do actually kind of helps that a lot. Actually, so that I don't have to feel like that. I can actually be, I have somewhere to put all that basic the music.
Well, definitely, I understand, man. I definitely understand. So,
but yeah, like even like there's some
Mike, your mic's cutting out again.
There's some experimental like singing shit I've actually been kind of doing that I haven't put out either, because I'm just trying different things out right now, see what people might like. But you'll probably see it surface in the future. But even some of that, some of the lyrical, even some of the lyrical topics of that point where like they definitely push me to the point of tears for sure.
Yeah.
And actually, yeah, for sure. There's a lot of substance, and actually, I've never played the song live before, but I know if I do, I definitely cry. There's a song called Black Waters that I have. It's on Diatribe. That song, if you listen to that shit, it's cryptic to some people, but like, if you listen to it enough, you'll figure out like what it means.
This is the one I'm reviewing, right? It's off this one.
Yeah. It is. It's like one of.
It's one of the.
Oh, man. It's one of the later tracks. I think it's like track 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the Discord is starting to be.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, no, I think it's my computer kind of being. All right, here we go. But yeah. So yeah, there is a lot of emotion. There's like.
Well, another thing, like I said, there's more. This is what we were talking about. So like, when you mentioned the the sacrifice you made and what's going on with you and your ex. So like in that, like I do want you to talk about that as much as you can, but in that,
yeah.
What sort of advice would you give to people that want to do something similar to what you did or are doing, and and try to help the mindset and just give some drive, because I'm going to take the advice that you give. Honestly, I'm still so.
Well, the advice, the advice I would give to anybody who wants to pursue anything, whether it's music or whatever your passion is. Anything that involves you fully immersing yourself in like whatever it is that you want to do, you're gonna have to make a sacrifice, and it's probably gonna be. Wait! Oh my God! I keep cutting out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I'm sorry. It's gonna end up being your social life.
Social life.
Oh, man. This is pissing me off. It's like right when I say the key thing, it fucking cuts out.
You want to like restart the chat or something? See if that helps.
No, it's okay. the first thing that goes will be your social life, for sure. 100%. It'll be your social life, and there's really nothing you can do about that. Like, I mean, it gets to a point where, like, for me, I didn't, when I got out, I kind of, at first in 2015, I was still kind of like experimenting and shit, but I hadn't fully taken the dive in. I was still like kind of moping and like, man, not sure if I like teetering on the, whether or not I actually wanted to like go in and fully, jump into the whole music thing. And then one day I kind of got decent at rapping, and I just did it. I just took the leap. I took the leap and I just started doing it. And then, like I just didn't quit from there. But just know that you're gonna have to sacrifice girlfriends, boyfriends, if you're into that, if you're a guy, that sort of thing. You're gonna have to sacrifice relationships, friendships, everything, family, because you have to make time for this shit. You know what I mean? Like, dude, literally, I wake up every single day and this shit is all I do. Like, whether I'm engineering for different, like, local clients or whatever, or a rapper who sends me something to, mix and master for them or whatever. Either that, or I'm working on my own music, or I'm in, like, occasionally, now that I'm kind of transitioning into the single life, I'm playing a little bit more video games, so that's kind of cool. But, like, other than that, bro, like, I never fucking leave my house, It's kind of sad at a point, but it's like, when you start something like any kind of career, man, it's your baby, and you have to treat it like that. You have to treat it like a newborn child, and like you gotta raise that shit, till it gets to the point where it can, it starts serving you, it's like financially, to where the career can handle you not being as consistent. You know what I mean? Like, I'm grinding so much now. People are like, oh, you just dropped a mixtape. You're about to drop a second 3 months later. Like, they're like, how the hell are you dropping so much music? Like, it's because I'm just I know if dude, I fucking hate this chord.
I'm sorry, man.
It's all good. No, it's just like I can see myself like flickering on and off whenever it's picking up my voice, but I'm like damn near speaking into my freaking computer here. So, but yeah, long story short, man, just know that you're gonna end up having to give up. You're gonna have to give up a lot of shit to pursue whatever it is, especially music. And that's the nature of the beast. You kind of have to just like set your loved ones up for it, set your friends up for it, because it's a long road, and sometimes people never even reach the top. So you have to really, really love what you do, and just know. This is why I always tell people. I made a video the other day telling people, like, remember what you're doing music for. Don't just do it for the clout. Don't do it for the money, because that shit doesn't come immediately. And it feels fucking terrible marketing to nobody, playing in front of nobody, making music for nobody. It feels fucking terrible. And I've been there, I know how fucking bad it feels, So, like, make sure that you're making music that serves, because that's who's going to gravitate towards it. People who feel that shit.
Thank you for that. I'm taking that advice myself. Hopefully it helped people that watch this.
Yeah.
That was really good advice. So since we're almost at the hour mark, I want to keep it. Can I do some fun stuff?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, one more thing as well. When I end the recording, can you not leave? I have to ask you one more thing.
Yeah. No, it's not good.
Let's keep that in mind. All right. So now that the serious stuff goes out the way, we can, okay. Who is? I gotta start with this one. So.
Yep.
Who? I don't know if you have one, but celebrity-wise,
yeah.
Who is your celebrity crush?
Oh man. Oh, these kinds of fun questions, huh? Okay. Yeah. No, that's funny. I like. Man. All right, I'm just gonna name the first person who came to mind. You asked that question. That was Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett. Oh man,
Yeah, she's fire, dude. She's fire.
Definitely.
She's fire, and she's a hell of an actress, man. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of like Lucy and shit, and like her in
Avengers.
freaking the Avengers series and shit, dude. Killed it. Excellent.
Dope. Okay. That's a real good one. If you have one, what's your like favorite food?
Probably a favorite like ethnicity, like a favorite like a favorite
Mexican
cuisine. Yeah, dude, Mexican. Oh man, like that shit, dude. You can't go wrong with some good, like a good ass like taqueria. Like you cannot go fucking wrong with that shit.
Honestly, man, I always eat at this place. There's this place called Baja Fresh. I think it's called something like that.
Baja Fresh is like Americanized shit, but I mean, like they're still.
Yeah, okay, it might not
It's
be
like
that then.
that's like some like Tex-Mex shit.
Yeah, it might not be that then. I'm
But-
thinking of something else. But it's some place around here. It's like a family-owned one. It's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's okay. You could have one superpower. What would it be? You can only have one.
Oh fuck. Superpower, huh? Oh man. I honestly, okay, this is gonna be like whole interview. The most conscious thing I'll say, probably to have my music heal people.
Huh?
Did you get that? Did it cut off?
No, yeah. You said your music to heal you. I'm just like I said.
Heal other people.
Heal others.
Yeah, to have my music heal others.
Well,
If I could like bless my music before it's like sent out to the world, like that's what I would want it to do.
damn, that's like the most angelic thing I've ever heard in an interview.
Yeah, man, like real shit.
Okay. I usually ask people, like people usually like even me. They'd be like, "Oh, flight, super strength, super speed." Like to heal others, you think of others first. That's a good trait. Man. That's why I told you in DM. You're better than people. Okay. I'm say this now.
I can't walk around like that.
I know. You shouldn't. Still be humble, but we just
Yeah,
know.
of course.
Keep it in the back of your head. Like I'm better than
Yeah.
you. Just keep that in the back of your head. Say that about everything. Like, I'm better than you. I'm joking. But
I think maybe in like maybe not. I wouldn't say like musically better than, but like maybe like morally. But you know what though? I'm probably on a side note, man. I'm honestly like, I feel like I'm like that because I've made so many bad mistakes in the past, and like made a lot of really shitty decisions and done a lot of stupid shit that I really shouldn't have done.
yeah.
So like I've had a lot of time to like learn and like suffer from my own mistakes.
But while you're on that, can you like just storytelling? Can you name like a few like briefly like some things that you went through that you would say is a mistake maybe like we can learn from it as well?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it's just like like a lot of the anger and shit.
Fights and stuff like that.
Well, I got into like a lot of verbal altercations with like like it could be literally anybody, but in some cases it's been like people I work with or like people I was like friends with, and like they're like, oh, this guy is way too much of a hothead type shit, you know what I mean? And I'm like, can't be like that because now it's gonna cost me friendships. Now it's gonna cost me, my wife used to always tell me like, we always used to like get in fights, but like again, like verbal, disputes type shit. But like, she would get to the point where like she's scared of me because I would like, my yelling and shit, So, and I never wanted that, you know what I mean? So, and that's not to say that relates to anything now. Like, the reason why we're in the position we're in now is just because we're just growing apart. We just want different shit, like it just regular shit that just happens. I don't have much time for her. anymore because I'm, so heavily pursuing this, so, but yeah, I mean, being like that, oh man, okay, I'll reference a line in Black Waters. Towards the end of the song, I'm talking about how, I'm trying to remember the line, like, it's like, 'cause shit I've been through will keep you up at night. Said I should have been, and yeah, right. I'm standing up and ready to take fucking flight. As a bullet to the head will not suffice. Sacrifices must be made, so I made him. 12 gauge by my waist, I don't fucking tase him. That beast inside me just knows society raised him. So that line, basically me saying that, look, I'm gonna bottle this beast up so I can be a functional member of fucking society. I'm gonna do it for myself. I'm gonna do it to protect you, protect, everybody from seeing, like the ugliness, and then like the line that I yelled, the following bar after that is, can't be walking around full of rage, so I fucking caged him. That's, so
yeah,
that's why that song has so much meaning.
Yeah.
But so like, and that whole, the apex predator is kind of like the embodiment of like, like of growth, and that's kind of what it represents. The mask, the whole theme is kind of like someone who has, overcome shit, and it's kind of like I needed kind of like a scapegoat. I needed a place to put all this shit, so I created it.
The story you're telling is just basically just like a story of triumph. Like you would say
yeah. Black Waters is
okay.
Basically coming up from like bottom.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, a few more questions, and then, like, I know I say this in every interview I watch. I always say this. I'm gonna say this again. This is not the last time I'm going to interview you. Okay?
Yeah, for sure.
When you hit the near mainstream and people are like, "Oh, he's going to sell us out." I know you won't. But
nah.
Like when you get there, I want to interview you again, and I want the stories, the more. I want to know more stories of what happened.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, long story. Yeah, so. Yeah, this is one of the most fun interviews I've had. I have to be very honest. So I thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
But it was not the end yet. So last few more questions. Some fun ones. If you could collab with anyone from, underground or mainstream, who would you want to do? Who would your dream collab be?
I hate
dead or alive. Dead or alive. Oh, you don't like? Oh, damn.
Well, no, I'll answer it just for the sake of the interview and stuff. But like the reason why I hate it is because like I always want to encourage people to like say fuck a collab. You don't need a collab to make you who you are, type shit. I'm very, very against, because I spent so much time in my early days collabing with people and it just got me nowhere, So
I feel you.
I just very, very salty about collabs.
Damn.
But because like I have a collab with So Smoola and stuff, and that was like just July of last year that we did this shit. So, but so I'm upset that I missed it, that I didn't get him before. But Zilla, or just City Morgue in general, again, would be fucking. I think me and City Morgue sound fucking insane on some shit.
I know most.
Yeah, I think that song was fucking crazy.
Did you see the music video for that? Oh,
yeah. Oh man, that shit would be. Shit, man. I hit up So Smoola to do a fucking the
video.
he was on tour with Denzel Curry, and they came to Atlanta, but the show sold out, and I was like, oh shit. So I didn't get to go to it, but I hit up Sos actually, and I was like, yo, like, would you want to film a video for the song? And he was like, yeah. He sent me a price, but I was like, man, that's fucking steep. I was like 3 times more than what I paid for the feature, man. So I'm like,
well,
yeah. But that shit would have been lit had we had done it. That shit definitely.
Maybe one day.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. When you're an underground artist, man, your main focus should not be your main focus needs to be building you. And then once you reach that top level, then you can start being like, hey, I want to work with him. You can start telling your management, hey, I want to work with him. I want to work with him. So you You managers, you hit up his managers and you tell him, hey, this artist who we manage wants to collab with your artist, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then they can do all the legal shit. Y'all can just jump in the studio.
Right. Okay.
You know?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. That's definitely true. Yeah. It should be more of a self-branding.
Yeah, definitely. And once I realized that, man, that's when I started on my own shit. You know, Diatribe has one feature. You know.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Definitely, I'm definitely excited for more Sinister, though. I'm definitely excited for that. I cannot wait. But so let me think. I thought I had another question.
Wait, there's a question I'm like,
Huh?
because you were like, oh, it's gonna be fun questions. I'm like, there's a question I'm waiting for, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is definitely gonna be one of those questions that some interviewer asked me.
Shit, cause I forgot it.
It was along the lines of the favorite actress. Oh man, I was gonna get that.
Favorite actor? Oh, shit. Okay, I have another question. It might not be that. It might not be the one, but if you, I don't know if that's a good one. Did you kind of already touch on that? I don't know. I'm gonna ask it anyway. If you had like $1 million, what would you do with it? Like,
Oh man. Well, only $1 million. Only $1 million.
You know, right now, yeah. Let's just say $1 million.
Okay, that's gonna be a lot different than if I had like 10 million or 50 million.
Right.
You know. Because then at that point I would start to like give back. Just FYI, just throw that out there.
Mm-hmm.
But 1 million, yeah, I'm definitely gonna like, you know, invest in some really top of the line music videos, top of the line production, like, you know, by like, you know, good like solid producers. I mean, I kind of already have all ideas, but like just even more so like industry level, you know. Definitely get some videos on WorldStar.
Oh hell yeah! I don't know why you get there eventually. Yeah.
So like a lot of it would just go back into like this brand. Like of course, you know, I'd get rid of this fucking hoopty car that I have and something kind of nice. Not anything super extravagant. Like I wouldn't buy a Lambo because I don't do that shit. But I'd probably buy a WRX. You know?
Okay. Yeah,
and I'd probably get like
Lambos, I love the
yeah, I mean for sure. But I don't need like super crazy shit. I just, you know, a brand new like WRX would be lit, and like, you know, get myself a nice little house.
Okay.
Pay off my fucking debt.
Man.
Yep.
So I hope you don't hear my dog. You probably do.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely. I would definitely.
But you would definitely what?
Cover like all the real world shit that I have that I'm like getting a new car, getting a house,
right,
covering my debt and shit like that.
I feel you. Okay. I honestly, I feel like I said I had another question though. I just forgot it. Anything you feel like I left out of the interview? We kind of went a little over the hour mark.
No. There was a question that's asked that I actually gave you an open-ended answer for it and didn't the question you asked about my influences.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I kind of did. Like, I'm kind of influenced by like a lot of shit. But like people who influence my sound, I guess generally speaking, would be, I guess, yeah. Like you can obviously hear the City Morgue. You can hear the Scarward and the City Morgue influences. You can hear some of the Slipknot influence. You can hear, like people who I listen to regularly, I guess. Yeah, like those artists plus like X. I listen to a lot of X.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Who else?
Because X was inspired by Slipknot for a lot of his.
Yeah, of course. And like, you know, X like, you know, when, you know, X and Bones like really did like the screamo rap shit, you know. They were like originators of that shit. Really, X pioneered that style like heavily before he kind of went into the more kind of singing type shit that he was doing late in his career.
Yeah.
But you know, I listen to a lot of like I do listen to a lot of metal band called Black Tongue. And I actually have a side project that's like, you know, kind of like more down tempo deathcore, just like real droney, just heavy, just that kind of shit. Like it's just it like it's not everybody's cup of tea, but like I like that shit. Let's see. I'm going through my playlist right now. Some of these artists I'm not going to mention, but I low key they're also underground, and I don't want them thinking like, oh man, he mentioned me in his interview. I'm not a fucking fanboy at all. I listen to a lot of Omen 13. See, I do listen to Bones, a lot of Bones. I listen to Cold Blooded, obviously. I started listening to Ouija Mac recently. That one kind of grew on me. Listen to a little bit of Xavier Wolf. Okay, Bill Saber, dude.
Oh, I haven't heard that name in a minute.
Man, yeah, Bill Saber. I definitely get down to some Bill Saber, sure. Okay, I also listen to DMX and Waka. Not even gonna lie, DMX and Waka Flocka, that's the shit right there. I listen to Smoke Perp, Comethazine, like, you know, I guess a lot of the new wave trap shit too. Occasionally I'll fuck with Soulja Boy shit.
No way.
And can't leave out. No, I was about to say, I was just about to name one. Lil Wop.
Hey.
Yup. Lil Wop took a minute to grow on me too, but I started bumping his shit and I'm like, oh shit. This shit's lit.
That's dope. I read, like, other than the ones in the scene, I'm in the DMV. I'm in like Maryland, DC, Virginia. So other than the people, other than the people like in the scene, I don't really listen to people like rappers from my area either, like that much. You know?
Now I do listen to some rappers. Again, though. I'm gonna let your minds wander on that one. Like, there are some rappers that are on my radar for sure. That I'm like, I listen to their music like when I'm in shit. Yeah, so yeah, some of you underground cats, I am secretly listening to your music.
That's dope. Alright, well, like I said, so was that it? Was there anything else?
I mean, yeah, man, if you asked all the questions you asked me, oh my god, freaking Discord. Yeah, if you asked all the questions you want to ask me, yeah, man, you know, that was all I had.
Definitely for now. Of course, you know, like I said, that's why I always say I want another one. Like the next time, it'll be even more questions. So, definitely that. You definitely have to plug yourself.
Oh yeah, man. So you can find me literally by searching my name, Sinizter. You can find me on any platform that streams music, man. And I try to traverse a lot of different genres. So if you like super lyrical shit, there's some of that. If you like the super screaming screamo trap type shit,
yes.
I do, you know. So I try to please hip hop artists. I try to please metalheads and all that shit, like new wave trap artists. You know, I even dropped a tape, little 5-track EP called "This Is Satire" for you guys who like all the ignorant shit. You know. So.
Dope. It will be in the description.
Yeah. Check out all those links. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure you send all.
As a listener and life, I appreciate you doing this interview.
Man, I appreciate you you are the star. I have no one. I appreciate you, but it's always a pleasure. Always. I could talk to you for hours. Just it would be harder to put it out, but.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man.
Of course. So that was the Sinister interview. Everybody, like I said, part 2 will be coming not very soon, but soon. You know, much later. Whenever he wants to do it again. Whenever Sinister wants it.
Yeah, we'll give it some time.
Of course. But like I said, lastly, one more thank you, man. Much love. I will always stop by to say what's up to you in the DM.
Oh yeah, man.
A review of his EP is coming out, and other stuff he drops. So yes, much love, man.
Yeah, much love to you too, Life. Right. Once again, appreciate you having me.
Of course, man. And that was Life Happens.